Hello, friends and clients. I am Jennifer Walker Gates, Walker Gates Vela, immigration attorneys in Austin, Texas, and San Antonio. And I'm here today. I'm very pleased to be here today with Rebecca Fox from Refugee Services of Texas. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi.
Today, we are going to be talking about benefits provided to asylees, people who have been granted asylum, who are qualified for benefits at Refugee Services of Texas and other similar agencies. We're going to be talking about what these benefits are, how to get them, and the reason this is so important is because so many people are not aware of these benefits. They really are incredible and helpful for people who have been granted asylum and may need help getting on their feet. I mean, all of us need help, especially during these times. Refugee Services offers all kinds of different help, and any of us could benefit from it. So I want our clients and I want any asylum seeker in the United States to be aware that these benefits exist and how to get them. So before we get into that, I always ask people, go down below the video and hit subscribe. We do video updates at least once a week for immigrants in the United States. You do not have to be a client to benefit from the information that we share. We want all immigrants to have best possible information. So hit subscribe. And then Rebecca, will you please give us a little bit of info about yourself, your background, and what y'all do at Refugee Services?
Of course. So my name is Rebecca Fox, as previously introduced. I am the matching grant coordinator at Refugee Services of Texas. I started with the agency up in the Dallas office as a case manager, and I've been with RST for about 3 going on 4 years. I've been working there, and I just have a personal passion for making sure that these clients and asylees in particular know that there are benefits available to them. So I've tried to work with our agency to go ahead and spearhead a movement to reach out to these clients and make sure that everybody has access to benefits that they are entitled to, and that we would love to see more clients coming in the door.
Wonderful. And so tell us a little bit about Refugee Services of Texas in general. What kind of work do they do?
So we are what's called a resettlement agency, which means that we receive refugees and SIVs, special immigrant visa holders, from overseas and help them get their first apartments, case management, signed up for public benefits, and then finding their first job, as well as cash assistance. So the thing with that is that we pick those clients up from the airport. We know that they're coming through USRP, and we are able to really set everything up for them beforehand. We also, though, serve other clients who maybe don't come through USRP. So we serve.
What is USRP? Just to quickly, for those who don't know.
The U.S. Office for Refugees, and USRP is the U.S. Office for Refugee. I am blanking.
The U.S. Refugee Program, or something along those lines?
Yeah, U.S. Refugee Program. So, okay. But that is where the UN, UNHCR, UN Human Rights Council, sends over individuals from overseas to the U.S., and the USRP then takes those clients and disseminates them across the US. So we also serve individuals who haven't come through the UN and US government. So those clients that we serve that aren't coming through that process include Cuban Haitian parolees. So individuals who have come from overseas and have been able to come and receive parole status. We serve Amerasians, who are individuals who were born of a U.S. soldier in Vietnam. And we serve asylees as well as victims of trafficking. So we have quite a few different clients that we serve. And one of the biggest gaps that I'm seeing is in the asylee area, in that they don't know about our services. And I want to make sure that they are able to get in and get access to those services.
Wonderful. So I want to talk a little bit about what an asylee is, because it's just, I think it can be confusing, even for those of us who've worked in the area for a long time. So I'll kind of explain from an immigration lawyer perspective what an asylee is, and you can add anything that, that I may have like left out just based on my limited perspective. But basically, an asylee is a person who has already been approved for asylum. There are a lot of people in the United States who want asylum, who have applied for asylum, who are seeking asylum, and those are asylum seekers. An asylee is a person who has been approved for asylum. Is that your understanding as well, Rebecca?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me about what kind of benefits can an asylee receive if once they're approved for asylum and they change from asylum seeker to actual asylee, then what do they qualify for?
So there is a vast number of services that we can offer to an asylee. Starting with case management, we can assist them with applying for public benefits. So if you would like to apply for food stamps, Medicaid, RMA, all of these different services that are available, which RMA is Refugee Medicaid, and which can help you if you have, you would receive that for 6 months. And if you have, say, ongoing medical issues or need a regular prescription, this can be really helpful. And then food stamps helps people get on their feet. It allows you to have a monthly allotment of food that is like a base number depending on your family size. So we start off with case management. We also have employment case managers who can assist you in finding your first job here in the US. We have employment partners who can hire from our grouping. They understand that people often maybe have limited English or who or maybe different documentation styles. And so we do have employment partners and we help our clients find their first jobs here in the US. We also have cash assistance that we offer to clients. There are 2 different programs. There's Refugee Cash Assistance, or RCA, which is a 4 to 8 month program of one-time checks each month for specific family sizes. So it's dependent on family size and when you arrive. And there's also Matching Grant, which is a program that assists with paying specific bills and is a 6-month program that with cash assistance lasting from 4 to 6 months.
Wow. And so if you're saying it's from 4 to 6 months, does that mean that, what does the clock start on that as soon as the person is granted asylum?
So that's one of the really important things that we need to talk about in that RCA program. It starts from the date on your asylum granted letter. So it's an 8-month program, but if you come in 3 months after your asylum granted letter, you've missed 3 of those 8 months. And the thing with Matching Grant that is helpful is there is a 90-day window. So you have 90 days to come to the agency. But what we really want to say is that it's so important that as soon as you get that asylum granted letter, and you have that in your hand, that you come to the agency and that you make sure that you get those benefits started as quickly as possible, because there is a clock ticking.
Yeah. And so the asylum granted letter, is that something that people can get from either a judge or USCIS? Will both of those work for your purposes?
Yes, those both do work.
Okay. That's great. What about mental health support? Is that something that is offered through RST as well?
So we are currently looking to hire a licensed counselor, and they do sometimes work with asylum seekers. They a lot of times are working with our trafficking department. What we do a lot of times with mental health services is that we refer out. So we have partners within the community who might provide mental health counseling or support groups. And so we tend to try to refer those out within the community, depending on what we're available to have in office. We have offices all across Texas, and some are bigger, some are smaller. Some of them have licensed counselors, some of them do not. And so it is really dependent on what office is closest to you, but I can guarantee that we do always provide those referrals to local agencies. So we're kind of a one-stop shop. If you don't know where to go, you can come to us and we help you find where to go.
Wonderful. So let's talk about where y'all have offices, so that people in Texas at least kind of have some sense of where the closest office might be. And then we can talk about the rest of the country and how people can find these services all around the United States. So within Texas, where do y'all have offices?
So we have offices in Amarillo, Austin, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, and the Rio Grande Valley, so Harlingen.
Wow. And can y'all serve anyone from across the state of Texas, or are there sort of jurisdictional limits for you?
We tend to try to stay within a 51 to 100 mile radius. So
Of each office?
Yes, for each office, just because we want to make sure that our services remain high quality, and it becomes very difficult to serve some clients at a larger distance. But there are also, you can always call your local office or the office that's closest to you and ask them if they know of a resettlement agency near you. That's one of the key things to know, is looking up resettlement agency or just looking up refugee near me. And you can, a lot of times, IRC has offices in different areas as well. And so there are a lot of, and Catholic Charities has an office in San Antonio. And so there are a lot of places that, if there isn't an RST near you, there is probably a resettlement agency of some kind near you.
Right. So in addition to Refugee Services of Texas, y'all provide these resettlement services. So does Catholic Charities in certain areas. And so does IRC, which I believe stands for International
Rescue Committee.
Rescue Committee. I was going to say resettlement, but it's rescue.
Yeah.
International Rescue Committee. And so those the three primary providers of resettlement services in Texas, do you think?
There's also World Relief.
Okay.
World Relief, Raíces. Those both are two big names in doing the work that we do. And so if you can't get a hold of an RST, looking for an IRC, looking for a Catholic Charities, a World Relief, or Raíces, those are agencies that can really help you start heading in the right direction if they're not close to you.
Okay. So moral of the story is that even if you don't know who can help you, the answer is, if you're in Texas, somebody can for sure, and you've been granted asylum, some agency is going to be able to help you get connected with these services. And just reaching out to one is going to be enough to like get you on the right path to be able to find who is actually going to be able to help you get the services that you need. Is that a fair statement? Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Then around the rest of the United States, I know it's impossible for us to probably list all of the providers because there are dozens and dozens, I know, of organizations that do this kind of work. But some of the other big names that might be outside of Texas, if people are watching who are not in Texas and they're curious, I know Catholic Charities is nationwide. So, you can always reach out to Catholic Charities close to you, and they should be able to provide information. But who are some of the other big players in refugee resettlement services?
So there are groups that we call the nationals, which are the large overhead organizations that maybe work with smaller agencies like RST. So those include Church World Services, Episcopal Migration Ministries, Hebrew Immigration Aid Society, IRC, International Rescue Committee, USCRI, U.S. Committee of Refugees and Immigrants, LIRS, Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Services, and World Relief Corporation.
Okay. And I believe that even if you can't remember or find the name of any of those, that, you know, an immigration attorney could help you find, you know, whoever is the local provider, a local immigration nonprofit, potentially Catholic charities again in almost any area. So I think the key for people to take away really is like, don't hesitate to reach out for this assistance. It exists for you, and not enough people are taking advantage of it, I think.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Well, it's great to be able to share this information, Rebecca. And below this video, we're going to have a link to a flyer from Refugee Services where you can, you know, get at least their contact information if you're in the Austin area or any of the cities that Rebecca listed: Amarillo, Austin, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, or Harlingen. You know, Refugee Services will be able to assist you if you're in any of those areas. And if you're not in those areas, but you want information about who to turn to, then, you know, you can reach out to RST. I'm guessing, correct me if I'm wrong, Rebecca, but like anybody could reach out to RST and you guys could help route them to the right people. Am I right?
Yeah, and on that flyer, we have our main office number as well as our fax number. And so anytime that if you were in San Antonio or if you are in like one of the more remote areas and you want to give us a call and just ask, like, is there a settlement agency near me? We have support specialists who answer those phone numbers and can help you out.
Wonderful. That is fantastic. So, yeah, please download the flyer below this video. Reach out to RST if you have been granted asylum at any time within the past several months, especially. Now, one thing I didn't ask you, Rebecca, you mentioned that the cash assistance program and the matching grant have these, you know, kind of time limits that are pretty short. But what about case management services? How long can y'all provide case management services?
We provide case management services up to 5 years after your asylum granted date. So
Wow.
if you are struggling, maybe you lost your job or something and you need to apply for food stamps and you've been here for 3 years. And maybe if you need some assistance through COVID relief, or if you need assistance finding affordable housing, you can come to RST and we will offer those case management assistance.
That is fantastic. I know that a lot of us in this day and age, a lot of us have, you know, are dealing with that kind of upheaval and could use that kind of support. So that is great to know. I definitely want our clients to be aware, and then all the rest of our viewers and friends out in the United States who are going through the immigration system. Please do keep this in mind, that once you are granted asylum, there are services available to help you. So what about asylum seekers, Rebecca? Is there anything that is available to someone who is seeking asylum who hasn't been granted yet that you're aware of?
So Austin is actually one of our agency offices that does have a department for asylum seekers. The services available are primarily case management. And it is a rather limited program, but in that it can only serve so many individuals. But if there is assistance for asylum seekers in Austin through RSC, and we also do refer individuals to Human Rights Initiative up in the Dallas area. They assist with asylum seekers, and Catholic Charities also has a program.
Fantastic. That's great information as well. And what you mean when you say case management, that is again going to be potentially finding benefits, even though I know that in Texas, many asylum seekers who are, if you're undocumented, or even if you have DACA, you know, public assistance is generally not available, but there may be some other sources that don't come from the government that could potentially provide help. So your case management helps connect people with those kinds of resources?
Honestly, since I am not in that department, I don't want to speak on it. So I want to just be careful not to guarantee anything that we aren't available to, but available
Sure.
to offer.
Yeah, that makes sense. Worth checking out for sure. So we will definitely be reaching out for that information as well. And I so appreciate you taking time to be with me today. Rebecca, is there anything else that we should just share and get put out there before we close?
Nothing. I just wanted to reiterate that it really is so lovely to be able to work with your organization, and we really appreciate you guys helping us get this message out. There are people here to help, and we want to do that. We want to see people coming in the door. We want to help you. All of this assistance is here to make sure that you guys can be successful with your new life here in the US. And all of us are here to make that happen. So anytime you have questions, if you want case management, if you want assistance, if you're within that time frame, we are here to help.
Fantastic. Well, that is wonderful. And as always, if we can be of assistance as well at Walker Gates Vela, we are happy to do that. Please reach out to us. You can find us online at walkergatesvela.com. There on our website, you can click to call us or click to schedule something directly on our calendars. And we would be happy to help assess not only your legal case, but if it appears that you could use and benefit from services offered by other organizations, we do provide that information also as often as we possibly can. So Rebecca, thank you so much for being with me today. Take good care, stay safe, and I hope that we'll be able to talk again soon.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right, thank you so much.